Hello, friends. Greetings. Now, we're all still coping and trying very hard each day to beat the COVID curve, hoping for your family and friends' safety as well as your very own. Now, I appreciate your support of the show in these unprecedented times as we slowly start to climb out. So what drives us in episode research and bringing you new content is to look for the stories be it timely and refreshingly different in these specific trying times. We strive to be relevant, ahead of the game, and as always, aftermarket approved. Our guest today has been a great contributor to the podcast. He is a multi-shop owner from South Street Auto Care, Rochester, Michigan, Kirk Richardson. Kirk is going to share his experience when one of his techs came down with COVID-19. Some very, very interesting lessons here. Now, before we jump into this excellent talk radio, a few reminders from our sponsors. They're the reasons we continue to bring you the industry's most relevant podcasts. You know, life as we know it has clearly changed. You know that. But the key to staying ahead is joining your community at Apex 2020 to reconnect. Now, we're in it together, no doubt, and together we're going to move ahead. The date's November 3rd through the 5th at the Sands Expo Center and Caesars Forum and Conference Center in Las Vegas. Registration is now open, aapexshow.com. I'll have my studio there again inside of Joe's Garage, which will be inside of Repair Shop HQ. Looking forward to it. Hey, now more than ever, you're focused on bringing cars through your bays safely and efficiently. Shopware's shop management system offers a completely contactless workflow. Your customers can preview, approve, and even pay 123 for the repairs right from their smartphone or personal device. Request a demo and see Shopware in action. Go to getshopware.com. Hey, find the talking points for this episode with Kirk Richardson and his lessons from a case of COVID-19 from one of his techs at remarkableresults.biz/E546. No doubt the talking points will be a good meeting agenda.
At the snap of a finger, change the way people thought about this and how they thought they would behave.
Hey, Carm here. Thanks for hitting the play button. I'm the Automotive Aftermarket Podcast guy. Hey, I was glad that Kirk Richardson called me to share his experience with his case of COVID-19. As I said, one of Kirk's techs contacted the coronavirus. Hear about his challenges as a multi-shop owner, testing, sanitizing, and a whole lot more. He offers some great wisdom on what he learned he could have prepared for. A contingency plan of sorts, he says, and you need to prepare for it. And if you're not listening to this podcast on mobile, get yourself a free podcast listening app at remarkableresults.biz/subscribe. Hey, so much of what I do now is video, and you can watch all our live video shows when they happen at remarkableresults.biz/live. Hey, use this episode to remind your team of the importance of sanitizing, social distancing, and protecting yourself and others. You know, I believe in masks as a preventative. Hey, warm welcome to my friend Kirk Richardson from South Street Auto Care, Rochester, Michigan. Hey, Kirk.
How you doing, Carl?
I'm great, man. Sorry we're having this interview.
Yeah, me too.
Didn't want to have this interview. You had a case of COVID.
Yes.
Inside the shop.
Yes. Yep. One of our technicians was a positive test for coronavirus. Yes.
And I want to talk about it. Thank God you gave me a jingle and said, hey, have you done an episode on this? And I said, no, I've been waiting for someone. Unfortunately, this isn't I'm not waiting around. I'm hoping that nothing ever happened with people that I knew in the industry, but it has for you. And I think it's important that we get this story told and published as soon as we can. So when did you find out about it?
So basically, almost 2 weeks ago, we'll just say, I think exactly 12 days ago, we got the positive result. Almost 3 weeks ago, one of my technicians called me on a Sunday and said, hey, I can't taste anything. I can't smell anything. What do you want me to do? I said, well, I want you to go get tested. And, he's a younger guy and he was not, he was like, well, let me see how I feel tomorrow. And, I was like, okay, yeah, you're not coming to work. And we spoke the Monday morning and he said to me, I feel fine, but I still can't smell and taste. I said, go get tested. He went and got tested that Monday morning. And, but those were his only symptoms. His only symptoms were can't smell, can't taste his food. And he then got the test Wednesday evening at 8 p.m., got a result. He was positive. And, it was not what we were expecting, especially based on the symptoms. I mean, he's a guy who has seasonal allergies. I mean, we really were not overwhelmingly concerned. And then, the snap of a finger, you hear a yes, and everything changes. It's a dramatically different situation at that point.
And he called and told you, hey, I got it.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I got it. So his prognosis was to be quarantined for 2 weeks, right?
Yes, 100%. Yep. That was, we also know probably 2 weeks, potentially longer than 2 weeks. You need to be symptom free for minimum a week. We are, as we've sort of gone through this, we are going to require a negative test before he can come back. But the thing to me that was the most interesting, I don't know if it was interesting, so we hear from, the young man, he's a young kid and 22-year-old kid. And, he calls us and says, yeah, I have it. So I've obviously make calls to everybody that we know, certainly everybody at the shop, everybody we know that's interacted with him. And pretty quickly, that same group of people, if you'd have asked them one day earlier, they were a bunch of cowboys about coronavirus and COVID-19. And if I get it, I'm not worried. And it's not even a thing. And God only knows all of the, all of the theories and beliefs amongst the people that I worked with. And in the snap of a finger, all the cowboys turned into, I got to go get tested. You have to sterilize the building, and so on and so forth. Everybody got a dose of reality that is, a person that you were just standing next to, it wasn't 3 hours ago, but 4 days ago, has coronavirus. And it put my shop to a grinding halt.
Yeah, so take us to you found out what went through your mind, within the first 24 hours that you had to do.
Keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
That was probably my biggest thing. And then you make the phone calls, you talk to the people. And one of the biggest hurdles we had was, so it's 8:00 at night and we're calling people it's still 10:00 at night. We're calling people because they got questions. What are we going to do? They want to talk. There was a psychological switch that was flipped that many people were, I don't know if they were scared. This was a lot more real to them. And, so at 10 p.m., John runs South Street Auto Care. We are trying to locate 24-hour testing, 48-hour testing. We're not up to speed on testing, and, trying to figure out what is the quality of the tests, so on and so forth. And we ended up not having a ton of luck on Wednesday night, and Thursday morning we started calling again, and we told everybody, don't do anything until, in my shop we have, I don't know, there's 13 people involved at that point.
Was this the biggest shop that it came down in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Well, and then I have a whole nother little side story related to that, which is very useful, I think, to our industry as well. But so we spent Thursday morning sort of trying to locate quicker turnaround tests.
For the entire team, you mean?
For the entire team.
Right.
We wanted to try and, so it's now Thursday morning. We're hoping Thursday morning, get a result on Friday, sanitize the building on Thursday or Friday, head back to work on Saturday. And, a bunch of the people we asked to wait, they didn't wait. They were not going to wait. They panicked, essentially. I don't know if panic is the right word, but they went about their own path, which turned into, we were for sure closed Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And for us, that's we have 60 some cars sitting in our parking lot to fix. So, that was a crushing blow. So
I do want to hear the customer side of that. When you told them the car couldn't be fixed and the reason, and they probably wanted to know from you what you were doing about making sure their car got back to them safe.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it was not, so John and I spent a lot of time going, what's the right message to the customers?
Mm-hmm.
How do we call the people that we know the cars he was in? And we went through all of that. And honestly, and we work in a wonderful community. We sort of work in Never Land. I mean, it's it is one of the best communities in the country. So, you made phone calls, and every single person was nothing but understanding. At some of my other shops, different neighborhoods, I'm not sure we would have got the same response. Now, I don't know. Okay. But a few people had some questions that we had to answer, but all in all, everyone was pretty tame. We did have one person.
Well, you have to have calm.
Yeah. And John made basically all of the phone calls. John's one of the most rational, calm people there are.
Okay.
So
that's good.
Putting somebody on the phone that wasn't going to sort of pass along the, anxiety was probably the best choice we made in that. We did have a customer who was on his way to pick up a car. This will tell you the psychology of people. Sort of a funny story. On his way to pick up his car Thursday morning, John actually calls him while he's standing outside of the building, and he's sort of a little bit perturbed. And he's like, yeah, my wife just dropped me off. And John's like, okay, well, obviously nobody's there, and what do you want me to do? And I don't remember all of the scenario, but his car was behind the fence, and the fence was locked. And because we were basically like, you can take your car if you want it. We'll get the payment later. And, so he's like, well, I can't get it out of the fence or whatever it was. And John calls me, and I said, there's cameras, give him the code to get into the door, and I'll watch him on the cameras, and you can go unlock the gate and take the car himself. And, magically, that was not a good idea anymore. It was not. He magically became much nicer when he was the one who had to go in there and get the coronavirus.
So he was accommodating to the fact that he wasn't going to be a do-it-yourselfer getter because he didn't know. I see.
Yeah, no, he knew. Oh no, we told him, hey man, nobody's there because somebody tested positive for coronavirus, and he was a bit angry.
He was going to moonwalk it back.
Yeah, that he couldn't get his car. So we were like, cool, you just go in the building. You get the keys. You open the gate. We'll walk you through how to do it, man. You can go in and go. And magically, he
accepted your plan.
Yeah, and that was the only person. And I think he was irritated because he was standing in the parking lot.
I think I would have done that too. I would have said, okay, I'll wait on whatever you guys want to do. Okay.
Yeah, magically it was like, hey man, don't be mad at me. We're doing the responsible thing. If you want to go in there and be responsible, go ahead. Well, you had to walk in our shoes, and then magically he was alive.
That's right. A little empathy here. I can't imagine. Did you convene like a little war room with John and you and anybody else to figure this whole thing out? Did day by day, step by step?
So it was a scenario where John and I spoke basically quite a bit Wednesday night, Thursday morning. John had to make phone calls. The phone's ringing off the hook. And every phone call was forwarded to his phone. He took over 100 phone calls that day.
All right.
John was working his tail off, and we were trying to guide people to the right testing facilities that we had found. And what ended up happening was multiple people went to multiple testing facilities, and by Monday, so think everybody went and got a test Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We were closed all 3 of those days. Almost all the results were back by Friday, Saturday. Got a few on Sunday, but we still had multiple people who were not at work on the following Monday because they still did not have a result. And, we sort of hemmed and hawed about not opening. And thankfully, we sort of hemmed and hawed and delayed. And, the final people got their tests Monday morning, or the results Monday morning, and we ended up going back to work. But we almost lost Monday as well.
Got it.
Because we did not, and the thing I would urge people to do is know a facility or two that are turning around tests in 24 to 48 hours before somebody has coronavirus, right? Because, we had guys that took 4 days, all of 4 days to get a result. And that almost shut us down for 4 total days.
Shopware's innovative shop management system will give you back your time and put more money in your pocket. Make the switch today and watch technician efficiency gain 20%, enjoy increased recommended service, and even grow the highest parts profit margins ever with the smallest amount of work. Steve from Ultimate Automotive says, I love that Shopware lets you complete every estimate on the inspection, and we even have a higher ARO, receive more approvals, and have had a significant increase in revenue. With our previous SMS, estimating was limited because it was so time-consuming. This impacted not only what we could sell on each customer's current visit, but also what we would have prepared for following visits. Hey, your peers are happy. Let Shopware work for you. Book a demo at getshopware.com. Life as we know it has changed. Now, through it all, your work remains essential to moving the world forward, and your community has never been stronger. And that's one of the many reasons people turn to Apex. And this year, there's even more for shop owners and technicians, including Repair Shop HQ, a shop demo area featuring 6 bays that simulate a real shop environment, a dedicated tire section, and 2 new training theaters. Apex is there for you. They're shedding light on new innovations, sharing insights on efficiency and effectiveness, delivering hands-on training, advocating for access to vehicle data, and being your voice for the industry. The key to staying ahead is joining your community at Apex 2020 to reconnect. Now, we're all in it together, and together, we'll move ahead. The dates, November 3rd through the 5th at the Sands Expo and Caesars Forum Conference Center in Las Vegas. Register right now at aapexshow.com. I hope to see you there. So was there any thought upon your part or anyone from your county to do some tracing as to where your guy got this from?
So we got a call, when was it? The beginning of last week or the end of the week before, from Oakland County. And they asked us a bunch of questions. What had we done? Did we know that, this young man had coronavirus? And yes, we did. And what have we done? And, we said, I've sent everybody home immediately. We closed. Everybody's been tested. We won't open until everybody has a test. We sanitized the building, and, they seemed pretty satisfied with our response to that.
Did you use a service to sanitize the building?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm working with your guy who got COVID. You're sending me home. I'm going home, and I could have it, and I could be giving it to my family. Yes. Was that a concern?
Yes. Yeah. That was an immediate concern.
Was the extended families tested?
That would be up to them.
Yeah.
I can, and we'll sort of go more deeply into this, because for multiple shop owners, shop owners from multiple facilities, multiple locations, which I do, I many weeks ago put in a no cross contamination policy. No, if you work at South Street Auto Care, don't you dare don't you dare come to Shelby Tire. And if you work at Shelby Tire, right, and
you're trying to contain it. If something happened, contain it. Okay.
Yeah. So I have not stepped foot at South Street. I have not stepped foot on that premises in like 13 weeks. So I'm sitting at Shelby Tire right now.
Okay.
Right. My other shop in Clinton Township, I haven't gone there. I haven't stepped foot in that building in longer. And I really said we can't sort of co-expose. We can't expose multiple facilities. Mm-hmm. So Colin calls me on Sunday, has symptoms. The young man calls me on Sunday, has symptoms. That previous Wednesday, John, who runs South Street Auto Care, we have 32 loaner cars at South Street Auto Care, and we've not been using them. So they're just sitting on our parking lot, clogging up our parking lot. And John calls me and says, "Hey, can I bring some loaner cars over to Shelby Tire?" And I said, no, don't come over here. Stay away. I don't care. And I said, fine. Just bring them, put them in the back. Don't come near us. Stay away. So John, the young man who's infected, and another young man, bring some loaner cars over here. The young man who is infected knows one of the technicians at Shelby Tire. What does he do? He runs up to him, gives him a job, because he hasn't seen him. He's a kid who just graduated college. He did a summer internship for us a few years ago, the gentleman who was infected. And now he sees, another technician that he knew from South Street Auto Care. He's at Shelby Tire. He runs up and gives him a giant hug. How you doing? And they're shooting the breeze. And I see him and I go, get away.
No masks or anything.
No masks or anything, man. Don't even get me started on the mask thing. Whatever. Right. Talk to technicians about wearing masks when it's 93 degrees out.
I know. Okay.
So the young man comes up to the technician. They hug it out. How you doing? This and that. And I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? Like, John, I didn't even want you over here. Now we're out in the parking lot.
But you didn't know John had COVID at that time?
No, it's not John. Oh. So Colin's the one who had COVID.
Oh, Colin. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes. We did not know that Colin had.
But did John work with Colin at the...
Yes.
Okay.
So John and Colin come over to Shelby Tire. John stays out in the car. He's far away. He's nowhere near us. Colin's over here chumming it up with the technician at my other shop. Well, So obviously, I had to do the exact same thing at Shelby Tire. So 4 or 5 of us at Shelby Tire, we got to go and get tested. So I'm tested. And as it turns out, the technician who was exposed to Colin, give me a big bear hug. How you doing? Tell me how school's going. Are you graduated? How's the family? Blah, 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 blah. As it turns out, that technician refused to get a test because of, whatever his beliefs are. Okay. So Wednesday, we know he's exposed. Sunday, Colin tells me he has symptoms. The following Wednesday, we know Colin has coronavirus. I tell the next Thursday, everybody's got to go get tested at both locations. The technician who was exposed will not go and get a test. On Sunday, I ended up firing that technician. I said, well, then you can't come back to work. That technician, and this is, I think, almost just a story in psychology, human psychology right now. The technician who was exposed, who hugged it out with Colin, who is now getting fired, proceeds to tell me that he knows he has coronavirus. He's had symptoms for 2 weeks, and he doesn't need to go and get tested. I couldn't exactly tell you what he was trying to accomplish by saying that, because he's not a really bad guy and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. I do believe that what he was actually trying to do in his brain was to tell me, or was to get me to tell him to stay home for 2 weeks, because he has a philosophical, he's not okay with getting a coronavirus test for some reasons, right? That are his own and he's allowed to have. So he thought I was just going to tell him to stay home for 2 weeks, in which, obviously I didn't take kindly to that statement of, hey, yes, I've had coronavirus for 2 weeks. I don't need to go and get tested. He actually said he's the one who gave it to Colin. He's so sure he's had it for 2 weeks. He's the one who gave it to Colin. He can just stay home. Obviously, I fired him because I had to enlighten him as to what he was saying.
Are you logging all of this stuff down, everything that happened?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I am right now. We're recording this video.
I would figure that, at some point in time, in a month later, you wanted to see a chronological order of all the things that may have happened. I don't know if it'll help or hurt you to have that, or if there's any value.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But I will say, be prepared for some guys who don't want to go and get tests for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And you better have a plan for what you're going to do, because every other person in this building that I'm currently sitting in, where that gentleman worked who refused to get the test, was like, I'm not coming back if he's coming back. So I had already terminated his employment at that point, but I ended up having to tell them all the story, and we had all tested negative at that point, except every one of us was now going, well, we took the test on Thursday, and our last exposure to the guy we just spoke to, who says he has coronavirus, was the day before.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, because you've done the research. Is getting tested for the antibodies different than getting tested for COVID?
Yeah, dramatically different. Yep.
It's two completely different. Yes. The antibodies that's the test to find out if you had it.
Yes.
Not if you have it.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay.
Two very different tests. So, and one of our guys who ended up getting the antibody test, and you had to wait for that. So, which I think didn't really matter. But I guess what I urge shop owners is know where you can get a relatively quick turnaround. Because 4 days is the problem. That was the biggest problem. I could have got the building sanitized in less than 24 hours. If we would have had 14, 13, whatever it was, negative results by Friday, we'd have been back to work on Saturday. So I ended up losing a day because I was not prepared and I didn't have a place to send them. And I told them all, hey, sit tight. We're going to try and find a place that we know has quick turnarounds. And they went and did exactly what they wanted to do because they were scared. They were not going to wait until 11 o'clock for me to call them.
The sanitizing company, they're more than qualified. They did it to your level. Can you share anything with that?
We made some calls, and I really don't.
You're hesitating.
I am. You talk to them, and they all went in. It was a spray, the bulk of them, and I don't know. It could be snake oil for all I know. Who knows? I don't know.
Is there anything that we should look for, EPA approved or anything like that?
We did not We made some phone calls, and it's the wild, wild west out there.
Oh, God.
So
all right. Okay.
there was not.
But your people felt confident that, I mean, did you had been practicing a touchless environment for your customers anyway. So that point,
Yep.
All right. Okay. And what do you?
No customer has stepped foot in our building for months at this point.
Okay.
Still hasn't. Doors are locked. We can do our job without somebody standing at our counter.
What are you doing to deliver the customer a sanitized vehicle at the end? I mean, are you spraying? Are you washing? Are you cleaning? Yeah. What are you doing?
We're using diluted bleach. Honest to God. I mean, one of the stipulations to get your car serviced is we're going to use diluted bleach, and if it damages your car, we told you. Okay. I don't need anybody to get sick. I don't want anybody to get sick. I say this, and I don't know if it's the right wording, but I think they get the intent. We have unemployment right now. I don't need more money. We don't need to get sick. So don't show up and arm yourself or arm anybody else in the name of making this business money. We're not going to do that. We don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. So I will be very cautious. And we've had people, all of our doors are locked at all three of my shops. They come to the door, they pull the door, they throw their arms up, have a little hissy fit while they're literally holding their oxygen tank with their mask and gloves on, and say some expletives and then drive away because they don't like the fact that they can't come in the building. And I go, stop. We were chasing them. And I said, stop chasing these people. Like, if they can't have respect for us, like, I don't even want them here. Which has been challenging for my people, honestly. But
Kirk, did Colin figure out where he got it from?
No. So interestingly, and this is, so his grandma had it in early April, but he was away at college. He actually just graduated from college at the beginning of May. He didn't come home until the middle of May. So his grandma had it in early April, and he lives with the grandma, raised by grandma. Grandpa lives there. Grandpa's very high risk for coronavirus. So Colin's been scared to death of this. Grandma had it. Grandma's been COVID free for weeks at this point. But no, he's a 22-year-old kid. So you sort of go, what are you out doing at night? But we know this kid. We love this kid.
Was he out in a mob, hanging out, going to bars on the weekend with no mask?
No, not at all. He's not that kid at all.
Because of his grandparents. He wanted to be careful of 100%,
100%. And honestly, we are sort of predicting he got it from a car. Honestly.
Wow.
Because, I sort of grilled him on this because, he's a 22-year-old kid, but here's the deal. He's not a big partier. He's not a big, that's not his scene or thing. And he's like, no, man, I have not really been around anybody, and he doesn't want to hurt his grandparents.
So you're not cleaning the car before the tech touches it when it comes in, are you?
We're wiping it down, yeah.
Or you're wiping it pre and post?
Yeah. I mean, let me rephrase this. We are supposed to be, and we've talked about it many times. Mm-hmm. I could not, all the cowboys, they're fine. They're not worried about it. And it's like, you got to follow the rules. So we've had, there's been times where I know we certainly haven't followed all of the rules. We're perpetually telling them what the rules are, and, the cowboys will be the cowboys. So I don't.
The whole human factor, you not being at your main shop to even observe that stuff, and John being so busy. Yeah, you have to trust your people to do the right thing. That's why we need to get this episode out soon and tell the world that even though we're opening up and we're all at the beaches with no masks, and there are spikes that we see going on around the country, we're still not out of this.
No, I don't. As of 2 weeks ago, I have a positive confirmation. So, no. And I think most shop owners who are responsible are going to probably handle this much the way I did, which is close the doors, get tested, sanitize, let your customers know. And the thing I would say to every shop owner, I would say a few things. Know where you're going to get tested before. Do your homework on sanitation, because it was the wild, wild west out there, and we had to make a decision. And we went with somebody as far as cost who was in the middle of the pack, and what they were saying we liked. And I would also say something like, sort of keep your plan to yourself. The gentleman who I ended up having to fire, he said to me, "Well, if I had the symptoms, I could never tell you because I knew you were going to make me get tested, and I knew you were going to fire me." Right? Because he knows I'm not going to play around. So, in which I'm not saying don't tell your people what you intend to do. Be careful, because not everybody is cautious about this.
Let me walk that back, what you just said. He figured that if he had COVID, you would fire him, not lay him off?
He figured if he had COVID, I would make him get a test. So if he told me he had symptoms, I would then make him get a test.
Yeah.
Being that he would refuse to get a test, he knew I would fire him.
Oh, refused to. All right.
So he was basically saying, I will show up to the building and infect other human beings to not lose my job. Is literally what he told me.
Yeah. In Colin's case, you laid him off.
Yeah. So Colin's been sitting on unemployment. Yeah. Colin hasn't been to work in weeks at this point. And, he's now, and here's the deal. He's fine. He's symptom free. We are, we're going to wait a week. He's going to get tested again. And, the game plan is potentially for him to show up next Monday. But he lost his sense of taste and smell for almost 2 weeks, probably over 2 weeks.
I had not heard of that one. That's good to know. Kirk, any connotations to the reputation of your business with the public, with your customers?
I don't think so. I mean, John would probably be a better person to ask that question, being he's the one who spoke to them. But no, honestly, I think if there was anything for the bulk of the customers, they respected us. This is the second time we've closed, actually, honestly. And we closed late March when you couldn't get a test, and we had a guy who was sick. Now, here's the deal. No coronavirus by the time, after a day or two, we were very convinced no coronavirus. And we still had some people who didn't want to come back to work who didn't, and we let them stay away for a longer period of time.
Okay.
But no, honestly, in that community, that I think with the customer base, that plays very well. It's a very affluent, very practical community, and it's played pretty well, honestly. And there's been no problems with the doors closed and things.
I'm a customer. I know that there's been a case of COVID there, and I wouldn't go to a friend of mine and says, "Hey, stay away from South Street. They've had a case of corona." No,
I don't know. I mean, we didn't get any of that feel. I don't know. I don't know.
Just curious. What else do you want to share with our great industry here?
Don't cross-contaminate your shops for multiple,
that's smart, really smart.
Stay away, even as the owner, you're going to expose yourself to every single person you work with. And, and I would say be responsible. You,
of course, found out that, let's go into John's mind. John, the operator of the store that had corona, he went home to his wife and says, "Hey, we got a case of corona." Any idea what the extended family's reactions are here?
John's a young guy, healthy guy, and he does have a significant other that he lives with. I think she was worried, wanted him to go get tested. I think many of the people were just anxious, right? They just wanted that test back. Most people were pretty convinced they didn't have it based on how they felt and things of that nature. But most of the spouses and significant others were very appreciative of us saying, "Don't come to work."
In Michigan, do you need a prescription to do this, or can you just go to a walk-up?
You can just go right to a walk-up. We did have a story. It's just sort of a funny story. I mean, not funny because I was ready to kill him. One of the younger kids we have two basically, early 20s kids right now at South Street Auto Care. And so that Thursday morning when we were all going to get tested, I was taping signs to the drop box so people would stop dropping their cars in there. So I went over there with a pre-made sign and taped it to the drop box that says, "We're temporarily closed. Please do not drop keys in the drop box. Call this number." So I'm standing there and I'm putting the sign on the drop box and on the front door and, on the exterior. I didn't go in the building. And literally our garage door starts to open as I'm putting the sign on. And I'm going, "What the heck is going on?" And I thought it was John coming over here to get this guy's keys, the customer that I told you about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was one of our young guys, and I don't even know what happened. I said, "Sheppy, what the hell are you doing? A, you scared me, and B, why are you in the building?" Because he lives at home with his parents. I'm pretty sure he ended up sleeping in his minivan in the shop, so he didn't go home and expose his parents.
Oh, my.
I haven't even talked to him since. I said, get the heck out of here, man. He said, I'm going to get a test right now. And he ended up going to the place we told him to go to. And, it was a 48-hour turnaround time. But
that is so interesting, Kirk. You're right. Many of our younger people feel they're invincible.
Yes.
And I've seen the beach scenes and the bar scenes where they have no protection. And just because we're open doesn't mean we're done with COVID-19. Okay. I think that's the pointer. And that's why we're publishing this episode.
Yes.
But in his heart of hearts, he realized that he could have been a potential asymptomatic carrier, and 100%. He wanted to keep it away. So that makes me feel good that there's some heart there. That there's some heart there.
And I would say this, and Sheppy, if you ever hear this, I love you, but Sheppy's a bit of a conspiracy theorist guy.
Okay.
I haven't had a ton of, because like I said, I haven't gone there. I haven't had a ton of conversation with him about his thoughts on COVID-19, but he wouldn't surprise me at all if he was a guy who, thought coronavirus was some hoax. But magically, the second somebody who has it, it's sleep in the van, don't go home, don't tell anybody that I know because, I want to figure out if I have it. And, it at the snap of a finger changed the way people thought about this and how they thought they would behave.
Well, I think we covered this A to Z: safety of your people, safety of the customers, disinfection, tracers, telling the customers, the extended family.
Yes.
And we just need to be careful that we don't
know where you're going to get tested, know where you're going to send your people before. Do not cross-contaminate your shops, and be wise about who you share your plan with. You don't want to disincentivize people to tell you that they're sick. Because they'll quit. They'll if they think they won't take a test, but they're sick. They won't tell you if your plan is to make everybody go take a test, which obviously is that doesn't work. So. Then that's wouldn't be okay to me. So every shop owner.
Lots of luck to you. I hope obviously you're back open. You've done a lot of right things. Thank you for sharing this. Kirk Richardson, South Street Auto Care, Rochester, Michigan. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, Herm.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.